Yo, what's going on, beautiful people? The Black Hokage here, aka TVH, and to be honest, I'd like to welcome you guys back to Hokage Thots, the show where ain't no hoes, but we do think out loud here on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or whatever you choose to listen to this show. Today, in which I'm recording, is June 15th, 2020, and boy, it's a hot summer. The entire world is on fire. And right now, I'm just trying to remain cool. Now, before we get into the show, just know that if you enjoy the show, make sure to rate it 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. It helps move my show up the algorithm, which helps bring in new listeners. So go ahead and hit 5 stars on Apple Podcasts for me right there. If you enjoy the show so much that you want to financially support the show, you can donate to the kid whatever amount that you see fit by donating to my Cash App. My Cash App is $ the Black Hokage 08. I repeat, $ the Black Hokage 08. If you're watching the video version, it should be on the left hand side at the top left or whatever right there. It'll be like a picture or whatever. If you want to watch the video version, youtube.com/the Black Hokage. Anyways, before we get into the show, know that we're going to be talking a little bit about games, watch some movies, and I got a lot of really good questions from you guys this week, so make sure to follow me on Twitter at Mr._I keep it real. That's where I take all my questions. Before we get into that, I got some quick little bites for you on the show notes. Things are hot and heavy in the United States of America, honestly the world, because there's protests going on. Shout out to the world holding down all the fucking black Americans, bro. The world is on fire right now. This shit is crazy, you know. Things can get sad, they can get heavy, so you know, I tried to find some stories that were a little bit more lighthearted. Plus, I'm not gonna lie, like some of you might want to hear me talk about what's going on with the George Floyd and the protests and the COVID and all this other shit going on in America. Honestly, we talk about it on stream every day. I've uploaded some highlights to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/the Black Hokage, and I just kind of get tired of repeating myself, so I didn't really want to bring it to the podcast this time. Don't think I'm ever like ducking, because you know I'm black first. I'm a black man. So I'm not ducking it, but I did try to find like some more lighthearted stories this time, because like listen, I really like this one right here. Check it out. Lego pulls back police playsets and affiliate marketing amid the George Floyd protests. All right, so basically, for those of you unaware, Lego said fuck 12. There's been a lot of companies that all of a sudden support black people. I don't know if you guys seen that. It became like the trendy thing on Twitter. Everybody was releasing a statement, which was funny because I swear to God, they had like a template. All the statements that everybody released, they were all similar. Like it was like a black background or like white text and then the company logo at the bottom. Anyway, that's beside the point. Interesting, but beside the point. Lego, the way they protested was they pulled all of their police play sets off of the market. So any like Lego toy sets that had police in them, you couldn't buy it. Also, they were getting rid of all the marketing, and I thought this was one of the most hilarious ways to fucking protest the police, because you know there's all this thing talking about defund the police, some people talking about abolish the police and all this shit. I just thought it was funny. I was like, you know, first of all, who buys Mega Bloks? I was never going to buy Mega Bloks in the first place, but I was like, you know, I think my kid is, whenever I have kids one day, I think they're definitely going to be playing with Legos. Let me see if there's any interesting statements. Let's see. We've requested that our affiliate partners refrain from posting promotional Lego content as part of our decision to respect Blackout Tuesday, blah, blah, blah. That was just a blackout. That's beside the point. They pulled the toy sets. They pulled the marketing for this thing. So if you're trying to buy any Lego play sets, just know that with police in it, you're not going to be able to find it. Also, I can't help but wonder, man, like a year or two from now, how long is this gonna go? Because like a year or two from now, if they're still doing this, like they still don't sell any police play sets, and you see some kid on the street playing with some police Legos, you can't help but wonder and look at your neighbor like, yo, is my neighbor racist? Like that's low-key a giveaway. Think about that. Shout out to Lego. Another story that I found was interesting was, in the midst of all the protests, cops got canceled. Finally, man, get this shit out of here. Cops got canceled at the Paramount Network. I guess them showing this on G4 24/7 wasn't enough for it to get canceled. First of all, I didn't know the show was still on the air, but fuck this show. First of all, Cops, originally launched on Fox in 1989, has come under fire in recent years for its depiction of law enforcement and questionable behind-the-scenes practices. I've been saying this. I have never been a fan of this show. Anybody who's watched Cops, you will know that like they follow these dudes around in their fucking commando gear, just kicking in people's doors, violating people's rights and shit. Like it was just a little bit, this show was always just a little bit too gung-ho for me, a little bit too excited to throw people was really getting their face shoved on like it was police brutality literally documented. And like, why did it take like fucking 30 years for people to realize like, yo, maybe this shit isn't cool, maybe we shouldn't dramatize and fucking turn the people who are supposed to protect and serve us into some type of wild reality show, bruh. I get like wild shit happens sometimes, but like a lot of this shit, I can't help but wonder, like, did it amplify the situations because the cameras were there? I never liked this show, so I'm actually happy that it was canceled. This show is also the reason that fucking G4 went down the tank. G4 is one of the greatest, especially because this is a gaming podcast. We gotta talk about it. For those of you unaware, there used to be a video game channel called the G4 Network. Before it was G4, I think it was called Tech TV, and then it went to G4. They used to do like video game reviews. They used to have a show where like you could just watch gameplay, get previews of gameplay. They used to do previews of games. They used to have like esports tournaments and shit. Arena. And then somewhere along the lines, I guess the views weren't where they wanted them to be, so they tried to implement different things into it. And one of the big implementations was Cops and American Ninja Warrior. The Ninja Warrior show was kind of okay, but I was never a big fan of that. But Cops, I really hated this shit. I'm like, what the fuck does Cops have to do with Arena? You know? So if you're unfamiliar with G4, you're probably 12. Man, it was a great network. It was ahead of its time. Basically, YouTube and Twitch is kind of taking over. It was just ahead of its time. But this is what ruined fucking G4. So I will. And this show sucks, man. I don't feel like there's certain things that don't need to be a reality TV show. But yeah, Cops got canceled in the midst of all the protests, so fuck that show. Thank God. And last but not least, on the quick bites that I got for you guys, I actually have a YouTube channel recommendation. I'm gonna try to do this whenever, because people are always like, yo, what's a YouTube channel? What content creators do you watch? I don't watch a lot of content creators, not because, and one thing you got to understand is like, because I feel like a lot of content creators do this. When the content creators that you watch say that they don't watch a lot of content creators, it's not to sound like, try to be like cool, like, oh, we think we're too cool for school. At least for me, because I'm speaking for myself, and I'm gonna guess this is similar for other people. One of the reasons I don't spend a lot of time watching other content creators is because I'm creating content myself, and I'm trying to find a way to better improve my situation. So it's kind of hard to sit there and absorb other people's content. And like, I don't really watch a lot of content just for the sake of being entertained anymore. Most of the content that I absorb has to do with learning and improving myself. So I watch a lot of motivational stuff. I watch a lot of things on how to improve my editing or new equipment for streaming, stuff like that. Self-improvement stuff that's in my field. That's usually what I watch. It's rare for me to watch entertainment stuff. So don't think people are trying to be too cool. It's like Drake said, I forgot what song it is. While everybody's partying, I'm making the music that everybody's partying to. That's why it's hard for content creators to be worried about other people's, because we're worried about ourselves. But that's not the point. Whenever I do find a channel that, because every once in a while I'm human, I get burnt out and I want to just sit around and watch television or YouTube and stuff. Whenever I do find content creators, I am going to try to start recommending them. I know I've talked about Mikey Chin a lot because I really want to get into traveling and vlogging and stuff like that. That's one channel I recommend. But this recent channel that I found, yo, this actually goes in this is perfect. This goes with freaking the let me just bring it on the screen. This goes perfect with the police shit and the protests that we're talking about. I apologize if I'm pronouncing this wrong, because I know for some audio, it's the name of the channel is Amagesset Press, AMAGANSETT Press. What this YouTube channel is, or AP News, just search it on YouTube if you're listening to the audio version. If you're watching the video version, you'll be able to see it on the screen. He has 169 subscribers at this point. This guy is fucking hilarious. He's an independent news channel, and his most popular videos is him exposing corrupt cops and just talk. He's one of those, I know you guys have seen these videos like on Twitter, those people that know the law. He's one of those people that knows the law. He's very familiar with his rights as a photographer and a cinematographer, and he just goes around filming different things, and he films cops and trying to fuck with him, and he puts cops in their place. It's one of, I know it's not intended to be a comedy channel, but personally, I love when people put fucking cops that are trying to abuse people's rights in their place. That shit is comedy to me, because the cops are so fucking stupid. One of the reasons people don't want cops is not just because of the whole shoving people on the ground, killing people. It's also a lot of cops are fucking dickheads that abuse your rights, and if you don't know them, they'll take advantage of you, searching you without a fucking warrant, planting drugs on you and shit like that, telling you you're not supposed to be in this area. And they're like, bro, If you're in a public space with a camera, that is your legal right to film. Motherfuckers just be coming up to him and he just be schooling these cops with the law. And then what's great about it is he has like this arrogant, like smug attitude. Like this nigga knows his shit and I fucking love it. It's fucking security. It's fucking comedy. It's not supposed to be comedy, but it's hilarious because I can't stand cops. They're fucking assholes. It's funny to see cops get put in their place and made out to be looking stupid. So if you like content like this, his whole channel is like, I don't want to say his whole channel, I haven't explored all his content, but at least all the content that I've seen, it looks like most of his content is just exposing corrupt cops and a couple corrupt officials. It looks like it. So yeah, check out this dude's channel. Shout out to AP News, aka I'ma Guess It Press. Once again, I'll spell it for you. AMAGANSETT Press. This motherfucker's channel is funny. If you like to see stupid ass cops put in their place, this is the guy for you. All right, that's all I got for the quick bites. Now that we got all that shit out of the way, first things first, we're going to be talking about a little bit of that gaming. You know I'm known for the gaming. I got some media recommendations for you because I've been absorbing a little bit of content. It's funny, I went on a whole tangent about how I don't have time to watch shit, but I finally watched a little bit of something, nothing too crazy. And then I got a lot of good questions from you guys. I actually got so many good questions. I couldn't take them all. I might take some more from my Twitter and put them on for the next, because we're probably going to do another. We're probably going to go back to back with episodes. So it'll be plenty of good content. I beat Trials of Mana since the last podcast on stream at twitch.tv/the Black Hokage. Follow my live stream, but I'm not going to review it this episode, probably on next week's episode. Which, by the way, The Last of Us 2 is coming out. I don't think I'm going to review it by the next episode, but the next episode I will. That's beside the point. I got a lot of great questions, so I took a bunch of questions from you guys. But first things first, let's get into this gaming. But I got to get a swig of this water first. So on the gaming side of things, since the last podcast, the PlayStation 5 got the full reveal. We got to look at the design. You got to look at like different games. No price point. No, we didn't get a price. Prices. What's the price? So first things first, the design. Everybody's making jokes that it looks like a router. It does. The internet's right. So it's basically the big ass refrigerator, the Xbox, versus the router. To be honest, I see a lot of people like shitting on it as like a meme. I don't buy consoles. I don't buy consoles to look at the fucking console. I buy it to fucking just play games. So honestly, does it look goofy? Yeah, but I'm on the side of I'm buying it to play games. I really don't give a fuck. I'm more worried about the specs inside. Does it have proper cooling? Is it going to overheat? Because we don't need another red ring of death. We don't need that yellow light like the PS3 used to have. I think that it was the yellow light when it would fail. I'm more worried about is it getting proper ventilation, because that thing looks kind of small and compact. So I really hope that the ventilation is good on it and has a proper cooling system so it doesn't overheat. I didn't like that there was no price. They did not reveal the price. I guess they're going to save that for another date. And I think they really should have revealed the price, because there's a lot of speculation online. A lot of people are saying it's no way that they're going to charge more than $500 or $600. They've been saying that for like the past year. But then like 2 days, a day before the event happened, the day of, I just seen a lot of people in my Twitch chat. I seen a lot of people on Twitter. They were speculating $700, $800, $650. Like random prices were just going. I seen $725, $750. People were talking about Amazon leaks about $750 or some shit like that. I don't know, man. Because there's so many price points out there that are just floating around. If I was Sony, I wouldn't want that false information going around, because people love to run with false information. So I would have put the price out there. I can't help but wonder, they spent like a whole hour and a half doing this reveal. If they didn't reveal the price, it makes me think it's going to be more than like $500 or $600. I think it's possible that it could be $700 or $800, and that's a big deal. That was something we were talking about on stream last night. It's a big deal because I feel like the tides have shifted. People's third eye has been awakened when it comes to technology. Not completely, not all the way there, but it has been awakened. If a console comes out at a price point of $700 or $800, I think there are going to be more people than ever that are going to look at the PS5 and say, why would I pay $800 for a gaming console when the console is supposed to be about convenience and price, when I can just build a PC? You can get a good PC for $800 to $1,000. So that'll be better than the PS5. So they're probably going to look at it and like, well, maybe I should finally take that dive and hop into PC gaming. So I think the price point does matter. It's like, why are they hiding it? I think people's minds has shifted. This is something I was talking about on stream. So one thing that's different between this generation and last generation in the last 10 years basically is, remember when the Xbox One and the PS4 were coming out? People like me and GI, we were talking about PC gaming back then because we were already PC gamers. But all the console gamers that were just looking to get a PS4 or an Xbox One would tell us, shut the fuck up, you're a PC elitist, all this other shit. I'm gonna be honest, you see it every once in a while, but you really don't see that PC elitist term thrown around as much anymore, because people's third eye is starting to awaken that maybe there might be more to be offered than just the console. So I feel like people's minds have shifted. That wasn't a thing when the PS4 and the Xbox One were just coming out. People were just in the market for a new console. Now people are kind of looking like, let's see how much that console costs. If it costs too much, I might get a PC. And I think that's interesting to see the market shift. I don't know if y'all remember, when the PS4 was first coming out, people used to say that your human eye couldn't even see more than 30 frames. Now that's been dispelled, and people realize, my eyes can see more than fucking 30 frames. Now they're looking at PC gaming as a more viable option. I'm not gonna lie, if it does come out at $700-800, I don't think I'm getting that day one. Like, that shit's too much money. It's like, I can afford it, but do I want to afford it? Because the reality is, if you pay $700-800, you also got to get a couple games. You're probably gonna need another controller, so your little cousin or your little brother or sister will shut the fuck up. And I don't think any cheap ass Mad Cat controller is gonna be available day one. You probably gonna also need the internet. They probably gonna charge. I would not be surprised if Sony jacks up the price on the PS Online. So it's a lot of expenses. By the time you get the controller, a couple games, the PS Online, it's probably going to be $1,000. So you might as well just build the PC, because if you build a PC for $1,000, you get the PC and there's a bunch of free to play games that you can have. There's also the Steam sales, Epic Game sales. You can get a lot of great games for $5-10. So you would pay more upfront, but you save more money in the long run. Point being that I'm trying to reiterate is, I feel like the market has shifted. I don't feel like I'm getting insulted as much by telling people that I prefer PC gaming. PC is my primary, and then PS4 is like my secondary, and then my Xbox is basically a coaster and a doorstop because they don't got no games. And then on the Xbox side of things, it's kind of hard too, because all their games are coming to PC. That was another conversation we was having, like, what the fuck Xbox gonna do? Because all their games are coming to PC. What's the justification for even? I don't know. That's beside the point. We're talking about PS5. Yeah, so I think the consumer's mind has changed. People are being more open-minded. And I think the price point matters, and they don't need to hide it, but we're being negative. Let's talk about some positives that I saw, because at the end of the day, I thought the PS5 reveal event was actually all right. I gave it a B minus. It didn't blow me away, but I saw enough games that if they came out around the first or second year, I'd be an early adopter of the PS5. So the positive things that I did see from the PS5 reveal event was the Spider-Man Morales game. I am confused on this. Don't get me wrong, I'm not confused by the fact that I'm going to pick up and play with the black man. Pause, that sounded weird. You get the point. Yo, doesn't this podcast suck? Rate this shit 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. That's beside the point. I definitely want to play the game, but I saw a lot of conflicting reports. I don't know. I'm confused. Is this a new game? Is this DLC, or is it an expansion? What is this? There needs to be clarification on this, but I definitely want to play the Spider-Man Miles Morales. The new Ratchet and Clank looked fire. That shit looked gorgeous. The Ratchet and Clank game, mwah, it looked beautiful. Kenna, Bridge of Spirits, that game looked really interesting. It looked like a cross between Pikmin and almost like a Ratchet and Clank like platformer, Jack and Dexter type game. It looked like it put a nice little spin on it, and the graphics were mwah. I love these colorful. That was one of my favorite things that I can praise about the PS5 reveal event. I love the fact that I saw a wide array of colors. The past 2 generations, ever since the success of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4, gaming has just become Oscar bait, and the color palette has become so dry. Everything's black, brown, gray, just trying to be gritty. Let's bring it back, man. Colorful, fruitful. I play games, me personally. I get some of you guys want to be esports all-stars and you want to get all the bitches. But me personally, I play games to escape this world. I don't want realistic graphics all the fucking time. So that's one thing I could praise about the PS5 event. I was happy to see lots of colors on the screen, bright, vibrant, almost childlike, just joyful. I love that shit. I love goofy ass platformer, colorful games. I don't give a fuck. I'll be 30 years old in August. I love that shit, bro. I love that shit. I was raised on fucking Nintendo, and I'm always gonna like that shit. Shout out, I'm playing SpongeBob Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. I'm playing it. I swear to God. Other games I liked, was it Deathloop? That's the new game from Arcane Studios, the ones who made what's the shit with Corvo? I'm about to. Oh my God. Dishonored. I'm an idiot. Dishonored. They made Dishonored. Honestly, Deathloop looked exactly like Dishonored. Like they copy and pasted the animations, but the difference is it's a black man with guns and like he has like time travel and shit. And because the animations looked exactly the same, I was like, is there a possibility that Deathloop takes place in the same universe as Dishonored, and maybe he's like a modern day assassin, black man with a shotgun and shit, or maybe he's even related to Corvo? It's possible. I brought that theory up on stream, and some people call me dumbasses and shit, and I was like, bro, I'm just, first of all, it's not even that serious. I'm just throwing theories out there. We're just having fun with it. Goddamn, y'all take these games way too fucking serious, you fucking dweebs. Second, it's not out of the realm of possibility, because if you watch the trailer for Deathloop, like I said, it looked like they copy and pasted some of the animations directly from Corvo and put it in that game, from Dishonored, and put it right in Deathloop. So I was like, maybe he's a descendant. There are white people with black people in their family, and vice versa. Black people with white people in their family. People fucking be having interracial relationships and shit. Don't be acting like your little sister Susie don't like the BBC. It's possible that he could be a descendant. Okay? Everybody loves the BBC. Everybody loves BBC. Rate this show 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. All right, another game that I liked, Horizon 2 Forbidden West. That game looked gorgeous. I don't expect anything mind-blowing out of it, but it looks like it's going to be another solid sequel. I did not see any game that just blew my mind like the next Mass Effect or the next Witcher or some like Cyberpunk or like The Last of Us, none like that. I didn't see nothing that like blow my mind, but I saw a lot of solid titles. And if this lineup is what it looks like around launch time within the first year or two, or like launch window, because launch window is the first like year or two, PS5 could be all right. It could be all right. I just hope those rumors of the PS5 overheating are not true. So like I said, overall, I enjoyed the PS5 event. I gave it like a B minus. Wasn't blown away, but I thought they showed some good things. I'm not a hater. I will say this PS5 event further reveals that we don't need E3. E3 is dead, y'all. I think this PS5 event really proved it. Other events proved it, but this one really proved it. I think they said they had like millions of people watching. They had like 5 million plus people watching the PS5 event across all the different platforms. I mean, shit, on my Twitch stream alone, I peaked around 4,500 viewers. I had 4,500 plus thousand people watching me watch the PS5 reveal and us reacting and shit. We had a good ass time, bro. So I think this proves like we're in an internet age. We don't need E3. Sure, it would be nice to get some hands-on time with the games like at E3, but most people are not going to take $1,000 flight to fucking LA to be able to play the new Ratchet and Clank for 5 minutes. Just give everybody access with the internet. It was dope. It was dope to see. I think this is going to be the final nail in the coffin. Well, actually, the final nail in the coffin is the Summer Games Fest. So, fucking Jeff Keighley, the guy who does the gaming awards show every December, the guy, the Doritos and Mountain Dew Pope, he has he created the Summer Games Fest, and it's currently going on. We're in the middle of it, and that's further proof that we don't need E3. I don't know if the PS5 event is part of the Summer Games Fest. I think it's separate. It's just Sony doing their own thing. I will say the Summer Games Fest further proves that we don't need E3, because it's just been game review after game reveal after game review, and my sub box has been flooded. It honestly feels like E3. And I think it's dope. It's dope to give everybody access with the internet. Like, I think it's time to admit that Nintendo was ahead of their time. Nintendo was correct with the Nintendo Direct. And it's crazy too, because Nintendo has been infamous for being so anti-online. It took forever. I would actually argue that like the Nintendo Switch is their first, because nobody really played the Wii U like that. Like Nintendo Switch is their first real like online experience that was like thorough, you know? Like you guys remember the GameCube days? Most of you probably don't even remember the GameCube had online on it. You had to buy an adapter, and it only worked with Mario Kart Double Dash. That's beside the point. The fucking Wii sucked too with the online and shit. Nintendo's just notorious for having bad online. They've been very slow to adopt it, but they were the first to create the Direct, and it seems like every company's following. And now you got the Summer Games Fest, and there's been a lot of things hitting my sub box. But what I will say, if Jeff Keighley ever hears this, which I doubt, but I'm still gonna put it in the universe. If I could critique it, I would say that it's kind of a hot mess. It's kind of all over the place, and I'm gonna give him a pass because it's the first year and he's trying to organize all these game companies. But one thing that I did like about E3, it was organized. There was basically the big conferences. You had Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo. You knew what time the conferences were going to be. You had the Ubisoft, the EA joint. Nobody cared about the Square Enix one. You get the point. There was a set schedule. I'm not saying there isn't one, but you haven't done a very good job of promoting it. Because, like, I mean, I'm usually on top of these things. I couldn't figure out when. Is this on YouTube? Is this on Twitch? What time? Like, it's kind of a hot mess, it feels like, and it's all over the place. And then on top of that, there really hasn't been that many great game reveals. So you gotta secure some better stuff. EA is doing their shit tomorrow, I think. So maybe next podcast we'll talk about what else has been revealed. But that's a critique I could have. Like, you gotta better organize the shit. Just come up with something to better give people a place to go all in one spot. One thing that I did see that was interesting that was revealed during the Summer Games Fest. Actually, it wasn't Summer. This was just EA. Let me put it on the article shit. They revealed today Star Wars Squadrons. This is the new dogfighting game, which, by the way, why when people fight in the air is it called dogfighting? I'm ignorant about that. Like, if dogs have 4 legs, dogs are some of the most grounded ass motherfuckers. They have 4 legs. We have 2. They have 4. They're 4 times more grounded than the average human being. 2 times. I mean, I can't talk. I can't think. Yeah. Why is it called dogfighting? Is it just supposed to be irony? I don't know. Rate this podcast 5 stars on Apple Podcasts if you got the answer. But they revealed Star Wars Squadrons. I remember back in the PS2 GameCube era, there was a game called Star Wars Rogue Squadron, and it was a dogfighting game where you got to play with the X-Fighter and all the other different fighters and shit, and you went on Star Wars missions and blowing them shit. I remember I liked this game as a kid, so it's nice to see this return. I don't know if this is a sequel or this is a reimagining, but this is what they announced. It's just a CG trailer. I think tomorrow they're supposed to reveal the gameplay. On Twitter, according to Nabellion, he says Star Wars Squadron reveal trailer. It's a first-person dogfighting game set after Return of the Jedi. Single and multiplayer campaigns, cross-play support, VR support on PC and PS4. I did like Rogue Squadron, but that shit was third person, and I'm not gonna lie, I just read this. This kind of threw me off. First-person dogfighting game. You kind of lost me there. I don't really want to play this game in first person because I feel like I'm going to get a stomach ache playing this shit. Do y'all really want to fly around in the X-Wing in space, fighting Darth Vader and shit, doing barrel rolls? Like, I feel like, honestly, if I played Star Fox in first person, I would have got a stomach ache doing all them barrel rolls. So this is what you're going to be doing in this. Is it supposed to be a VR game? It's going to have VR support, but are they really promoting the VR? I don't know. I'm not going to lie. I just lost interest. I should have read that tweet before I did this fucking podcast. Now I'm kind of disappointed. I'm not going to lie. Y'all let me know on Twitter. Do y'all want to play a first-person dogfighting game in space? I don't know. This shit is making my stomach turn even thinking about it. Let's get off this shit. I officially no longer care about this game. Sorry about that. Let me get a swig of this water before we get off the fucking gaming section of the podcast. When I was in high school, I was on the wrestling team. I remember the summer before my senior year, my parents shipped me off to a week-long camp to improve my skills. Since it was an overnight camp, I had a roommate. And I will never forget this guy. He refused to shower. Instead, he opted to drown himself in Axe body spray every morning. He could have used something like today's sponsor, Hawthorne. Hawthorne is a men's hygiene brand that has a wide array of products from colognes to shampoos, deodorants, body washes, and more. Hawthorne is all I've been using for the past several months, and I have not been disappointed. Reason being is they make it easy to make the right selection. Simply fill out their 2-minute quiz on their website, and they'll suggest the best products based off your answers. I was actually surprised how detailed the quiz was. You get simple questions like, how often do you shower? But you also get more thorough ones like, what's your drink of choice? Do you smoke? And is your skin oily or dry? I have all their products, and I have to say that I am thoroughly impressed with their shampoo and conditioner. As a black person, you know our hair is different. We have to be careful not to use products that strip our scalp of its natural oils. I've noticed with their shampoo and conditioner 2 things. The first being that my hair grows better. The weaker areas of my hairline have definitely thickened. And 2, I have not had dandruff since I started using their conditioner. My hair stays properly moisturized. And since Father's Day is coming up, I think Hawthorne would be a great gift idea for all the dads, sons, and brothers in your life. Just take the quiz for him and Hawthorne will handle the rest. If he doesn't like the product, know that Hawthorne is totally risk-free because they provide free shipping and free return. And since Hawthorne is a sponsor of the show, be sure to head on over to hawthorne.co, and that's Hawthorne with an E, and use promo code Hokage at checkout to get 10% off your first purchase. That's hawthorne.co, and use code Hokage at checkout to get 10% off your first purchase at hawthorne.co. Since the last podcast, I absorbed some new pieces of media. Those would include and what I recommend. So the first thing first, I need to watch more documentaries. I watched a documentary on Netflix. It was recommended to me by you guys on Twitch. Follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/theblack-Hokage. Sometimes I listen to y'all. Not all the time, but sometimes. Y'all recommended me this Netflix documentary. It's called The 13th. It is about the 13th Amendment. It's very, what's the word I'm looking for? It's very good to watch for in turbulent times like this. I mean, for those of you unfamiliar, I already knew what the 13th Amendment is. The 13th Amendment, a lot of people are trying to get it abolished. For those of you unaware, slavery is still legal in the United States. It's legal under the 13th Amendment. And basically what it says, and I'm paraphrasing, but basically what it says is if you become a prisoner, you're owned by the state, and then the state can do whatever the fuck they want with you. So slavery is legal. Slavery is legal through locking people up, and that's kind of why there's an enticement to lock up more black folks, because ever since they freed black folks, they didn't know what to do with them. Listen, we ain't gonna get all into that. Listen, if you want to learn more about how and the prison to pipe, the school prison to pipe system and cops and why they act the way that they do, and it is mad companies. Like, I knew it was companies in prison that were using these services, this slave labor, but it was like random companies too, like fucking. But I didn't know it to the extent. Like, I seen Victoria's Secret on the damn that was the one that stood out to me. I'm like, Victoria's Secret? They using fucking prisoners to make panties and shit? This shit is weird. Like, I thought it was just like they were making like furnitures, like chairs and couches and shit. But no, it's like everyday products, like panties. And Lord knows some of y'all need panties because y'all bitches. Let me stop. I'm joking. We don't refer to people as bitches. We refer to them as bitch ass niggas. All right. But yeah, if you want to learn, if you're not familiar with the 13th Amendment, and like I just kind of gave you like a brief little breakdown of it, and you want to go like fully in depth, it's like an hour and a half. Very interesting. I'll actually know it now. I think about it. It wasn't in my podcast notes, but on top of my head, I watched a video on YouTube. It was titled, I would recommend it, How Rich Was Black Wall Street. I did not. I knew about Black Wall Street before Watchmen. Most people did not know about Black Wall Street. Isn't that really sad? That in order to learn true American history, you have to watch HBO shows like Watchmen. Most Americans did not know about Black Wall Street, which I feel like more people would be empathetic towards the black struggle if they did, because one of the main arguments is just clean yourself up, fucking stop having babies, get a job, and pull yourself up by the bootstraps, which is bullshit in itself, because you didn't pull your family didn't pull themselves up by the bootstraps. Y'all had an advantage by enslaving us, but let's pretend like we're all on an even playing field or whatever. Most people don't know about Black Wall Street, Rosedale in Florida, Durham, North Carolina. There were a lot of prospering black communities in America post-slavery, and there was a massacre in Tulsa, Oklahoma, known as Black Wall Street. They dropped bombs on us. They firebombed us, blew up 35 blocks. We literally owned an entire. The point I'm trying to make is, I learned from this video like how rich these people actually were, and there was a lot of sentiment and jealousy from like their white neighbors. Apparently, they owned 6 private planes. I was like, hold up, mind you, there was only 2 airports in Oklahoma at that time, and 6 planes were owned by black families. There were tons of banks. They said there was like 21 movie theaters, a bunch of different black-owned banks. They said they had like hundreds of business. I was like, when I watched that video, I was like, I could see why they firebombed fucking Black Wall Street, because and like I said, other communities were popping up across America. It would have inspired a revolution, and you can't let the black man have no money. Why am I talking about this? These are things I care about because I'm black. Shout out to because I'm black from GI. Anyways, 13th Amendment, the 13th. It's called The 13th. It's a really good documentary if you want to learn about how slavery is still legal in America and how it affects society and the products that they produce. And I recommend it because I learned a lot of new things in there. Not a lot. It reinforced a lot of things that I already knew, but I picked up a couple new things like I didn't know the Ku Klux Klan, like the burning. You know how the Ku Klux Klan, they burn crosses. I learned that they got that from the movie Birth of a Nation. Apparently they weren't doing that before, but it became a case of life imitating art after that movie came out. Because if you haven't seen Birth of a Nation, it's a horrifying movie. It's basically makes being the Ku Klux Klan member look like you're like a fucking cowboy just going around shooting niggas up and shit. It's a terrible movie. Basically life started imitating art and the Ku Klux Klan started burning crosses after that movie. So that was interesting. I did not learn that little. I did not know that little tidbit. I also learned about there's a lobbyist group called ALEC that lobby for laws. They lobby for laws towards your local politicians that basically incentivize and imprison more black people, which obviously, come on, creates more products for free and creates more slaves. Interesting movie. Definitely worth watching. It's called The 13th on Netflix. Highly recommend it. Educate yourself. Really start to understand why things are the certain way. Don't be walking around. Take the red pill. Yo, a lot of people love to talk about, especially in my Twitch chat, they love to talk about red pill in the context of like dating. That's cool. Like I'm definitely like that way, like learning about women's true nature. That's cool. But you also need to take the red pill just, in life, period. Don't just do it for dating. See the world for what it truly is. Get off that blue pill. Yes, that was a Matrix reference. Anyways. The other piece of media that I recommend is Dave Chappelle dropped a new stand-up. I don't want to call it like a comedy stand-up. It's called 846, which is in reference to George Floyd, how much time was, the officer was on his neck. It's on YouTube. It's for free. It was sponsored by Netflix. It's not really a stand-up, so don't go into this thinking you're going to laugh. I smirked like a couple times, but honestly, it just kind of felt like a church sermon. It was very raw. He had like some things written in his notebook that he wanted to get off his chest. And he literally just sits on stage. And I guess he called Netflix up and he was like, look, man, I'm going to throw a free show. Tell everybody in town to show up if they want to. Let's record something. And it's a 30-minute stand-up about things that are going on in society. It's not really funny. There's a couple little smirky, little cheeky moments. But other than that, he's kind of just talking about real shit and how people feel and all this other stuff. And like I said, don't go into it thinking you're going to laugh, but I still think it's worth watching just to get a different perspective. Shout out to him for referencing the Ja Rule joke, because nobody gives a fuck about what Ja Rule thinks in a time like this. So definitely check out 846 on YouTube. It's for free. Dave Chappelle, one of the greats, one of the living greats. All right, let me get a swig of this water. And then I'm gonna get into your guys' questions. So the first question comes from, and by the way, if you want to submit a question for the next podcast, if you want your question asked, follow me on Twitter at Mr_I keep it real. I was actually thinking about, because I'm always trying to find new ways to monetize and make some money because I'm broke. I was thinking about doing a thing where like I can give a guaranteed answer to your question, because the way I do it is I tweet out, I'm working on show notes. If you have any questions, submit them, and I just kind of pick and choose whatever. But I'm thinking maybe guaranteed answer to questions if you, I don't know, drop 5 or 10 on the Cash App and like you give me your Twitter username. You got to reply to the tweet, and then I don't know. Let me know. Let me know on Twitter if that's a good idea. Guaranteed answers the questions through donations. Anyways, first question comes from Armand on Twitter, and he says, have you ever thought about having a pop-in guest on Hokage Thots? It's a good idea to keep it a solo podcast, but every once in a while adding another voice to it could lead to differing ideas, topics to pop up. The reason that so he's asking would I ever have a guest on there. Right now, at this moment where I'm at mentally, June 2020, 29 years old, I don't want a guest on my podcast. This is a solo podcast, and it's been very successful. It's made me a lot of money. I've been picking up advertisers out the ass. It's been very successful on Apple. It's crazy too, because when I think about it, the idea for this podcast was just kind of like started off as a joke. I was like, one day I woke up, I was like, I'm in the mood to just talk. So I was like, I just put out a tweet. I was like, yo, would y'all watch a podcast separate from the GI podcast where I just talk about anything and I just ramble about life and shit? And people were like, yeah, go for it. So I was like, fuck it. I just came up with a name. I got some artwork done and I didn't know for thinking. I just started getting cracking within like a month after I put that tweet out. I got it cracking once I got the artwork done. And it's been very successful for me. That's why I be trying to tell people, stop overthinking shit. Just do it. If you really believe that you can do it, go for it. It doesn't mean it's going to be good right away, but you can get better over time. People appreciate a story where somebody started off as trash and fucking got better over time. And it's a glow up versus they usually will hate on you if you're just a beast right at the beginning. But anyways, the reason I don't want anybody on my podcast is because I think that's what separates it. It's a solo podcast. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but me personally, I don't know anybody else that does a solo podcast. And not to toot my own horn, but real shit. On average, these episodes have been about an hour a piece, usually sometimes longer. And I usually just sit into this microphone and talk for an hour. And like, this has become one of the most popular podcasts in the world. I'm ranked in the top 100 for TV and film right now. For those of you unaware, which by the way, to toot my horn again, this is the second podcast I have ranked in the top 100. The Gaming Illuminati podcast, our gaming podcast, that's ranked in the top 100 in the gaming section. And now I have another podcast that's ranked in the top 100 charts for podcasts in the world, for the TV and film section, at least. We got to get into just the general charts. And I did this just being myself, sitting here talking. So I don't really see a point in adding anybody to my podcast because I think that's what separates it. That's what makes it unique. I'm sitting here talking for an hour by myself and I'm still able to captivate an audience. I don't know anybody else that's doing a solo podcast. Like, I don't think people understand how hard it is to do this. It's easy to do a podcast with your friends or a group of coworkers because you guys can feed off each other's energy and ideas. And also you don't have to speak the entire time. I literally have to speak the entire fucking time. The only time I don't is when I say, let me get a swig of this water. That's why my mouth be so damn dry, because I got to get a swig of that water. We need to get them t-shirts going, by the way. Let's see. And because of that, let's see, Hokage, Thots, Apple, and people actually supporting this shit and it rises on the charts. If I go to the Apple page right now, it's rated 5 stars and it has over 2.2 thousand ratings at this very moment. I think that's more than the Gaming Illuminati podcast, bro. This is one of the most popular podcasts in the world, and it's just me being myself. So I don't really see a point in bringing anybody on because I feel like that's what separates me from the pack. I can stand on my own 2 feet and still be interesting. I'm not saying I will never. I'm not going to completely rule it out. Who knows, a year from now, 2 years from now, my mind frame might completely change. But I think me personally, the reason why I wouldn't do it is because me standing on my own 2 feet is what makes this shit special. And adding somebody to it will kind of take that away. They might come on here and say something stupid or aggravate people. I don't know. That's just kind of where I'm at mentally right now. But my mind could change. The next question comes from Cozy Malik, and he says, thoughts on a Twitter argument. Is it wrong for parents to kick their kids out when they turn 18, for example, with no resources or guidance to start life? And then Burnerfinger actually replied to Cozy Malik. He added on, he said, if I could add to this question, I want to know, how long would you allow your kids to stay with you? All right, so 2-part question that feeds into one another. I saw whether or not is it wrong for parents to kick their outs when they turn 18, for example, no resources, no guidance. Okay, so if your kids have no resources or guidance at 18, I would argue that it's wrong to kick them out because you as a parent failed your kids. Like, our kids are a reflection of ourselves. So if your kid has no guidance or resources at 18, he doesn't have like a trade school he's going to, or he's not going to college or like a job. You failed them as a parent. They don't have any guidance or resources because of the kid. So I think it's because of the parent. So I think it's wrong for the parent to kick them out because you as a parent, you failed the child. So yeah, I would argue it's wrong. And then he said, if I may add to the question, I want to know, how long would you allow your kids to stay with you? I don't know. I think, how long would I add? Yeah, I failed them, but at the same time, if I wouldn't say longer than 25. At some point, you're gonna have to hop off the porch. That's the reality, right? One thing you gotta understand about being an adult is nobody's ever 100% ready to be an adult. Also, nobody will ever be 100% ready to be a parent. You will just never be ready to. You'll never be, because you never know what life is gonna throw at you, if that makes sense. And if they stay in the house a little bit longer, 20, 21, 25, then I would get worried they're getting comfortable. Because the reality is your parents are not gonna be here forever. So at some point you had to take the initiative to, like, I feel like one thing I noticed is I feel like a lot of people nowadays feel like, yo, you got to have like $20,000 saved up in the bank account to move out. No, bruh. You can have like a little savings, like 5,000 saved up and then fucking go. Like, I'm going to be honest, yo. I hopped off the porch. I moved out when I was 19. Honestly, I was pretty much kicked out. And I didn't really have anything in my savings. I think I had like 2,000 in my bank account. No, I had like 4,000 in my bank account. And I had to pay the first and the last. So I had to pay rent when I first moved in, 2,000. So I had like $2,000 in my bank account because I had to pay rent up front. I really didn't have a lot of money. And I just made it happen. Like, how are they supposed to learn how to be self-sufficient if they're always depending on you? So I feel like it's a 50-50. It's a sticky question. In the beginning, I think, yeah, it's wrong to kick them out at 18 if they have no resources or guidance, because I feel like the parent failed them. But since they are staying in your house while they're an adult, in that time between 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, they should be spending time getting those resources and guidance. If it comes from the parent, cool. But if it doesn't, you also have to realize you have to take responsibility for yourself. At the end of the day, you are an adult. So I don't think there's a definitive answer for this question. It's kind of weird. It's yes and no. At what point do you play a role in yourself? It's kind of like what I be talking about on stream. Like the people, like I be seeing a lot of streamers, they be tweeting about how hard it is for them because they got bullied in high school. But then these motherfuckers be like 35 years old. At what point do you take responsibility for yourself? At what point do you get off Twitter and quit bitching and crying and go see a therapist? Because that's what you need. So it depends. I think people need to be accountable for themselves. Whose auntie is that? I don't know. That's somebody's auntie had texted me. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I think the answer is yes and no. It's too many moving parts to just give it. Not everything in life is black and white. That's what I'm trying to tell you. If there's anything you get out of here, not everything in life is black and white. I feel like personally, if I didn't leave my parents' house when I did, I wouldn't have grown as a person, and I wasn't 100% ready, and that's something you just have to accept. I don't know if that answered the question. Anyways, the next one comes from Blue Note Gaming, and he says, yo, TBH, with everything going on in the world right now, what happens when you find out and know your friends are on the other side of the line of the conversation? It sucks because I grew up with these people, but they don't care like I do. I even sent the link to one to register to vote, but he didn't care. This question is kind of vague, so it's kind of hard to figure out what you're talking about. I'm the type of person that I don't believe that you should cut people off because they have a difference of opinion. You can grow from one another or listening. And then you can also just agree to disagree as long as you keep it respectful. But then I also believe there are certain things that like I draw the line. Like, honestly, one thing I was thinking about, like, I really hate how this topic about race has become about politics. Like when people say that my life matters. When I say that my black life matters, that's not politics. That's a morality thing. That's a humanity thing. And that's where I would draw the line. Like, you're telling me that I don't matter. We can't have there's no respect the difference of opinion there. Like, you're just a racist. So it depends on what you're talking about. If you're talking about something like the economy or something like that, then it doesn't really matter that much. As long as fucking like different ideas on like politics and stuff like that, it doesn't really matter. Like, as long as you guys are being respectful. But if you're talking about something deeper, like something morality and human, and you feel like that's making you uncomfortable, go find some new friends. You know, say, you show me your friends, I'll show you your future. You hang around a bunch of losers, you're most likely gonna become a loser. So you might as well ditch them. So that's what I would say for that one. Hopefully that helped. Hold up, I gotta check this text message. All right, so the next question comes from Gianna, and she asks, do you expect an influx of black main characters in the near future of gaming because of recent events of protests and rioting because of police brutality, and companies maybe start to pander? Maybe they'll start to pander is what you're saying? An influx of black main characters, maybe not main characters, but like more like maybe like, you know, side main characters, somebody in the group, and maybe even main characters. Yeah, I would not be surprised if there's more, but I'm kind of conflicted about this, right? Because it's one of those situations where it's damned if you do, damned if they don't. If they don't put more black characters in video games, then you'll complain that there's no representation in them. But if they do, now you're making the argument that they're pandering. And isn't the end goal to get more of just you? So it's like, it sucks that it sucks that this is the reason maybe why they're supporting, but at least they're supporting now. Because I was saying the same thing about like Twitch. I feel conflicted about Twitch. Like, I don't know, for those of you unaware that don't follow like the Twitch stream, the Twitch what's it called, scene. On the homepage, hardly any black creators ever get featured. Honestly, the only people that really get featured are like white males on the homepage of Twitch. And if you get on the homepage, you get thousands of views. Last time I was on the homepage, I had 12,000 views. Rarely anybody of color gets on the homepage. And for the longest, creators have been complaining, you know, why can't we get on, you know, blah, blah, blah. They don't do it. Except for on Black History Month. But George Floyd dies. Yo, true story. George Floyd dies the next day. Ever since George Floyd died, there have been nothing but black creators on the homepage. And that shit is really weird to me. Because I'm like, it's kind of like how they said they don't have money for reparations, but magically when COVID happened, they had money for everybody. They had $1,200 in everybody's bank account. Magically, you know, there's nothing but black streamers on the homepage. And that does kind of weird me out that it took somebody to die. But at the same time, it's like, you know, they say any promotion, there's no such thing as bad promotion or bad media. It's like, at the end of the day, you are on the homepage. It's sad that it took this. Me personally, if I was Twitch, I would have recommended they wait at least like a month and put out a statement like, hey, we're going to try to do a better job to better support our creators. But it was kind of like a knee-jerk reaction. I don't know, like if somewhere down the line, going back to your question, if like years down the line we start to see more black characters, I don't see anything wrong with it, because at the end of the day, that was our end goal, and it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. I will say it would be weird if, like, I don't know, let's say like we've seen Cyberpunk, right? Cyberpunk 2077. We've been looking at this game for like the last 2 years. In the last 2 years, they said you can create your own character. And then tomorrow they come out and they release a statement. We now no longer have a create a character section. It's now just a black character. That I think would be bad. Or I don't know. Let's what new games are coming out? The ones that I just from the PS5 that we were looking at. Horizon 2 Forbidden West. This is a game that's in the works. It's coming out soon, right? Like, it would be weird if they announced tomorrow, Guerrilla Games announced tomorrow that Aloy is no longer the main character Horizon. Aloy is going to be a black woman named Keisha. I think that would be problematic. It's like you're just going to switch up your whole vision to try to, that's pandering to me. But if years down the line we start to see more representation, I would just look at that as results versus pandering. Pandering is when fucking Hillary Clinton went on the Breakfast Club and it was like, yo, I put hot sauce on my chicken. That's pandering, bro. But do we not protest? Do we not demand justice so that we can see better results? It's like, I would say, I don't see anything wrong with more black main characters because of this, as long as it's like there's a time period between that. I don't know if that helped. Anyways, the next question comes from the Voker, and he says, nah, here's a better question. Have you ever had to turn down applicants that wanted to be part of GI? Not expecting specifics or anything, but I don't know, just thought it'd be interesting on how to choose. For the millionth time, everybody on the stream team in GI, nobody was an applicant. I never, first of all, back when I first, I don't think you can find the tweet now because I deleted all my tweets. Because, you know, people be searching and shit. You ain't gonna find no tweets on me. But I remember back in 2012, I put out a tweet and I said, I want to put together a group of like black creators on YouTube and like Twitch or whatever, like on some like, I don't know, commission shit, or the you know, just like a round table, Knights of the Round Table of just black excellence. And I remember I did do a video where I was looking for people to be a part of the group, and hardly anybody applied. So I was like, fuck it. You know, I just took the friends that I gamed with on the regular. There was a natural chemistry there anyway. And then we made GI. Like, I wasn't looking for applicants. When I was looking for applicants, nobody wanted it. But now you see it's doing well. Now you want to apply and shit. There is no fucking application. I hate to break it to y'all. There's no application. You cannot apply. You cannot be a part of it. Nope. Too late. Nobody want to be a part of anything until they see it successful. Y'all don't like the work. Y'all like the results. So ask yourself why you want to be a part of it. That's the real question. What do you know, it's funny. People love to ask, can I be part of GI? I always ask, what do you bring to the table? Because I need to make some more money. Everybody just I want a group of friends like GI. Okay, then just game with some people. That's all it was. Just game with some people. That's how you get a group of friends. But no, we're not taking no applications. We're not taking no interns. That's another thing people be asking. And like, people have this idea, GI, like, we don't make as much money as y'all think. Okay, I think if anything, you just like to see the black unity and you want to be a part of that. That's all that is. But we really don't make it. Y'all motherfuckers be talking to us like we 100 Thieves or TSM or something. We ain't getting money like that. Nowhere near that. Trust me. I wish. I motherfucking wish. But applications are closed. Should have took that answer to call back in the day. Anyways, the next question comes from True Zero, and he says, how do you stay disciplined to keep working hard? The way I stay disciplined is because I got bills. I think I answered this in a previous podcast. I got bills. I don't have any other, like, actually, you know what? This question actually pertains to the earlier one about when's the right time to kick your child out of the house. It's kind of the argument I was making earlier. I would argue I would not be as disciplined if I didn't hop off the porch. Living at your parents' house can create complacency. And I think that's the important. It's kind of the same concept of, like, I know a lot of people, most people who learn how to swim is because somebody threw them in the pool. I know when I was a kid, I got thrown in the pool and my parents was like, swim. So it was either swim or sink. So if you just hop into the pool, your body's gonna figure it out. You know, you're not gonna figure it out overnight, but you're gonna figure it out. You're gonna make mistakes, but nobody's ever 100% ready to be a parent. Nobody's 100% ready to leave their house. Nobody's 100% ever ready to buy their first car. You gain confidence through experience, and if you don't take the time to experience things, you will never be able to do what you want in life. So how do you stay disciplined? I went out and experienced things, and I figured out what works for me. And once I figured out what works for me, then that becomes my discipline. So just go out and experience stuff. Get off your fucking iPads, man. I mean, you can't now because of the COVID shit, but you get the point. Whenever things return back to normal, and if you're watching the video version at youtube.com/theblack-Hokage, you know I did the little fingers, the little quotation fingers, normal. But that's how I stay disciplined. Just going out, experiencing things. And also realizing that I don't have anybody to fall back on. There's nobody. It's easy to be undisciplined when you weren't forced to grow up. I don't have anybody that I can call on the phone and be like, yo, bail me out, please. That's how I stay disciplined. I got bills to pay. And I always tell people I'd rather be depressed with a bed to cry in and watch Netflix than be depressed and homeless. So that's how I stay. It sounds like a horrible thing to say, but I'm just being honest. I'd rather be comfortable and depressed than fucking depressed and sleeping on the streets. So that's how I stay disciplined. At bare minimum, try to keep a fucking crib over my head and some food in my stomach. And, you know, you can find your sanity through conversation with people and therapy and shit like that. But you got to be able to afford therapy. or you got to have good discipline and morals and shit to find a good friend. Because if you're a quality person, you're more than likely going to attract quality people. That's why I said, you know, be careful about who you hang out with. If you hang out with losers, you're probably going to end up a loser. I don't know if that answered your question, but whatever. I'm moving on to the next one. And last but not least, the question comes from Ray, and he says, how do you network with other content creators and streamers without coming off as using them to get ahead? The best way to network with people, and this is not even like a content creator or streamer thing, the best way to network with people is create an actual relationship. Like, don't be that person that hops in a stream and you're new, and like, I hate when people hop in my stream and they'll be like, yo, you need somebody to run with? Like, who are you? Like, you know, on Twitch, I can literally click your username and see how many messages you have in the chat. That was literally your first message you type into my chat and you're talking about, can I play with you? You're like a clout chaser. Don't be that guy. If you want to network with people, actually build relationships, follow people on Twitter, and don't just reply to opportunities. This goes for like all the PR people. That goes with all like the PR people for companies that be giving away game keys and stuff like that. Like, actually tweet them. They be talking about their life. They be talking about things that are going on. Create an actual relationship with them. Don't just respond for opportunities, because if you like, people will remember you more if you have a beer with them than if you're just constantly asking them for shit, if that makes sense. Then they'll be in mind for opportunities. So when it comes to content creators and streamers, follow your favorite content creators and actually interact with their tweets, interact with their content. I help people from the Discord. Like, I've played Ab Smooth's beats on my stream plenty of times. Do you know why? Because he's always in my fucking chat. So the least I can do is support his content because he supports me. If I see you putting love towards me on the regular and you got something that you really believe in, I'll be more inclined to check it. But honestly, I fucking hate when people First of all, people can see when somebody just followed them on Twitter. I hate when somebody just follows me on Twitter. I get a notification and then 5 minutes later I get it, because my DMs are open. I get a DM talking about, hey, how can I grow on YouTube? How can I, bro, you just want something from me. You don't even watch my shit. You just saw that. You might have never, I don't even know how often you watch my shit or support it. You might have never watched my content. You just seen I had X amount of subscribers, X amount of followers. Your friend told me to fuck with you, and you send me a message because you need a personal shout. Matter of fact, that's low key why I be getting annoyed. That's how I know some of y'all don't fuck with my content. I get messages all the fucking time. How can I grow my Twitch stream? How can I grow my YouTube? All I do is drop gems on this fucking podcast. And if you listen to it, you would know that. And I'm not coming at you, Ray. No, I'm speaking my mind. I'm rambling right now. If you actually supported me, you would get your fucking answer. But you don't. You just want something from me. So don't be like those people. Actually try to be a part of somebody's community if you really fuck with them. You catch me. I'll be in my favorite streamers chats just saying what up. Say what up. Fucking engage in whatever conversation they have. And who knows? If you're sub to them and one day you be like, yo, I'm a rapper. You mind playing my music on your stream just to give me some feedback? I've done that before. I'd be like, you know what? You subbed and you've been subbed for like a year or whatever. I see you showing love. I'll play your song. I'll give you the homie rate. We'll play your song and give you some feedback. Actually network with people, actually engage with their content, engage with their tweets, their Instagram posts. Don't be that guy. And that's not even a content creator thing. That's period. Don't be that guy. Because you can smell that shit from a mile away. To this day, there's some times where like, I remember this one 2K streamer came in my fucking stream while I was streaming 2K. He was like, bro, you let me, he had a check mark, you know, niggas in the 2K community. You like, you need somebody to run with, bro. Let me run with you. I clicked this shit. That was like his first time typing in my chat. 600. Nope. You just want to be on my stream. You just want to be on my stream. That's all. It's not even about, do you want something, do you want somebody to run with and shit like that. So that's the best thing I would say is I guess what I'm trying to say is be a human being. If you want people to see the humanity in you, then you need to see the humanity in others. Empathize with people. Honestly, what your mother be saying, treat people how you want to be treated. Especially because a lot of the bigger people like that you want to network with, they have a lot of people in their DMs constantly asking for shit. So the best way to stand out is not ask for shit and actually engage with their content, be a regular. And if they see you're supporting them, they might support you. And even if they don't get upset, because at the end of the day, like, I didn't build my platform to shout you out. I'm keeping that shit. Most people won't say that, but I won't, but I will. I did not build my platform to shout you out. But there's a little bit of humanity in me, so I might if I see you fucking with me. Also, network with people who are around the similar size as you. Like, people will create a YouTube channel or a stream today, and then they'll go to like the biggest YouTubers and Twitch streamers and be like, yo, let me get a shout out, bro. You don't even know what your content, that's the funniest shit. You don't even know what your content is about. Who are you? What's different about you? But you want me to shout you out. People never look at it from the other side. If I shout you out and I send my audience to you, that's a cosign. And if it's a bad cosign, it makes me look bad. Like, what if I cosign your content and then the next day you come out and you're saying like racist shit? That makes me look bad. There are plenty of streamers that I follow that I've never rated because I personally don't believe that my audience will like them. I personally like their content. I like their personality, but I don't think that my audience, my demographic will like them. So I don't rate them. It has nothing to do with whether it's different strokes for different folks. I'm all over the place. But I do hope that helped. Just don't be that guy. Be the person, be the example that you want to see. That's what I always tell people. Yo, everybody, people ain't shit, bro. Bitches ain't shit. Niggas ain't shit. Okay. You're not wrong, but be the example that you want to see from other people. I think that's why a lot of people fuck with me. Like, you may not agree with everything that I say, but I stand my ground. I don't get involved in drama like that. I don't be on that bullshit. I don't be saying nothing crazy. I'm very picky about just be true to yourself, man. I don't know. Get money, fuck bitches, drop phones. That's all I got on my show note. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. If you did, be sure to rate the show 5 stars on Apple Podcasts because that helps my show grow in the algorithm, brings in new viewers, and we need those so I always tell people, listen, help my show go up in the algorithm because it brings in new listeners. More views means that I don't need donations or subs. I can take those numbers to advertisers and get even bigger checks. So at bare minimum, all I ask, you don't got to donate. You don't got to sub. At bare minimum, all I ask is when you have free time, just show up. Just show up. It helps me because I can articulate my value. So I just need you to show up. But if you do want to financially support the show, send that donation over to Cash App. That's $ the Black Hokage 08. I repeat, my Cash App is $ the Black Hokage 08. If you're watching the video version, it will be on the top left, right below the artwork. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. That's all I got on my podcast notes. And I'll see you guys on the next episode of Hokage Thots.